I'm Sara Kurtzberg. I'm the chief of what we call the Bureau of Litigation and Technology. Our job is to make everyone else's jobs easier, faster, and cooler. And so we try to figure out a way that technology can help us get through our jobs, from getting the materials to disseminating the materials, to presenting materials, to upgrading technology throughout our office. And some of that is now I'm part of an AI committee in our office made up of myself, the chief of our digital evidence lab, and one of our executives. And so Chris asked me to give a little bit of kind of AI and its role in prosecution and how it's already in your offices, as well as how we in Brooklyn have started to use it in addition. So, I mean, everyone's concerns about AI is pretty across the board. Everyone's concerned about like bias and fairness and transparency. And I think Microsoft talked a little bit about privacy and our CGIS compliance, as well as our data security. The accountability and over-reliance, I think, are some of the executives' concerns when it comes to generative AI. And then there's the unintended consequences of AI, of what you may not have already considered in terms of that it may produce unexpected results or biases. And then when you're talking about digital evidence, there's a concern of fabrication, manipulation, and compromised evidence. And I'll talk about that a little bit more. But as Microsoft said, AI is already in your offices. If you don't know that, I'm sorry. I was at a training yesterday in Virginia, and I think the room I was in when they talked about AI already being in everyone's offices, their mouths all dropped. Not only is it in your Copilot in Microsoft Office, it's in spell check is AI, Outlook has AI, your phones are AI. So you have to figure out a way in which you're going to create a policy for your office and use it effectively and ethically. And so I kind of brought my PowerPoint into how we're using it in here in Brooklyn. I will tell you that I used AI to make my PowerPoint a little bit. If you're not familiar, PowerPoint now comes with a designer application that's integrated. And so for a presentation like this, it allowed me to create a slide like this by just giving it a prompt. It's a cool tool to present with. It's not a tool we are using for evidentiary purposes. So I just wanted to give you guys an idea that that's already integrated in your office. I know many offices are turning off ChatGPT and they're concerned for generative AI. But as Microsoft just said, Copilot is now coming out of the box into your Microsoft 365 upgrade to Windows 11. And it is just as generative as the ChatGPT feature. So kind of what we did in Brooklyn is we figured out that we needed to use AI for a few different reasons. One is it's already here, so we have to use it. There's two types of AI. There's two groupings of AI, and there's what is machine learning AI, that I could teach a computer to do a manual task. I could teach a computer to redact. I can teach a computer to sort through materials. I could teach a computer to fix a photograph. If you've used your iPhone and used the little wand feature, that is machine learning AI. Or I can use generative AI in the broad sense of generative AI. It creates materials. And it has, for us in prosecutors' offices, it has the concern that it could do what we call hallucination. So I'm probably the best example when you're talking about generative AI, which got everyone, I think, to turn off their ChatGPT, was the civil case of the Avianca case out of Manhattan Civil, where the attorney asked ChatGPT to create a motion to stay statute of limitations, and it created case law that didn't exist. And the attorney cited the case law that didn't exist and was sanctioned by a judge here in New York. That's an idea. That's an example of a hallucination. Deep fake, which I talk about a little bit later. The idea that I can make there's a whole bunch of stuff now with Taylor Swift, and that they're using a photo of her as if it's her talking, representing or campaigning for a candidate that she is not campaigning for. That is a form of generative AI. That is more of the concern, I think, for most of us. Most of you are already using, with a lot of reliability, the machine learning AI. And I think most of us are rightfully concerned about the generative AI nature, that it could create something that was not reviewed or created by someone with a legal background. That's my general definition. So just to give you guys an idea, if you're not familiar, the New York State discovery statute changed in 2019, and these are our 2020 statutes. So we're at a deficit when we talk about how much materials we are receiving. Our office just purchased a 4 petabyte server. If you're not familiar, that's I think 1,000 terabytes for 1 petabyte, and we're running out of space. That's how much materials we're receiving electronically. So we realized that we had to start using, and we are starting to use AI to help us sort through materials that we're receiving every day. And so one of the areas that we quickly got on board in using AI and are expanding our use of AI is in electronic discovery. And the first place we used it was in AI transcription software. And the attorneys and non-legal staff are given a warning that the AI transcription software is AI and it must be reviewed by them. It was a major point of our district attorney, Mr. Gonzalez, that we alerted our staff when we were using AI and alerted the defense as well as the judiciary when we use AI. So in creating the transcripts, which are our aids to sort through hundreds of thousands of body-worn camera and our own calls and other recordings, we do generate a warning for them and that this transcription was created by AI and is used as an aid, not to replace them. Some of the ways that we want to use it and are starting to use them. I made the PowerPoint 3 months ago and we're already starting to implement some of these. So we're moving quick here in Brooklyn. We are creating an AI tagging system to tag our documents and identify what they are. We have purchased in New York or in Brooklyn, to be specific, an e-discovery tool called NICE, and it requires us to tag our items by the type of item. Right now, we're doing it manually. We're moving hopefully soon to creating an AI. We're hoping to get some funding and create an AI tagging system that will identify this piece of paper as being a voucher, this piece of paper as being a memo book, and then identify it for us so that we could tag it automatically. We're hoping to create some tagging also within the case file that will create some witness folders for you, tell you what witnesses, civilian and police officers were spoken to. We've started implementing with some degree of slowness, AI redaction software to ask the Adobe Premiere and other softwares to redact some of our body-worn camera for us, as well as some of our recordings. We're hoping to create soon an inventory list and discovery checklist, so it'll integrate into our own case management system, and we'll identify what pieces are missing, what pieces are new. And in New York State, I am required to give over a list of all materials that I've given to the defense as well as to the judge. So we want to hopefully use AI to teach it to create our lists for us. And we're talking about maybe potentially creating a initial witness list of all the witnesses, civilian and police officers, pulling their names out of the materials. This is relatively easy to do right now with Adobe if you are using PDFs, but not all of our materials are PDFs. So we have to potentially purchase some additional software to do it from as well. And then in addition, we need to pull out names of officers in order to create. New York State requires that I give notice of all officers that are going to testify, as well as request their Giglio materials from our internal office. So just some of the ways that we're trying to use AI to get through the drudge of the mounds of what used to be paper, but is now digital. And I think that this is an area that I think most people are comfortable in using it as well. Especially if you're in New York and are as bombarded with discovery as we are. Some of the other ways we're starting to use it or have used it in evidence. I will tell you that every time we use it, we are informing the defense and the court and the jury that AI was used. We've used it to enhance videos, primarily in exoneration reviews. So we have a pretty robust conviction integrity bureau and are lucky enough to have our own embedded digital evidence lab made up of forensic examiners as well as intelligence analysts who actually sit right next to me. And they have been asked to enhance videos, older videos, to figure out whether or not the person's story is of actual innocence, could be true. An example is we had a defendant who claimed that their confession was coerced, that he was beaten. They used some AI video enhancement tools to lighten and sharpen the video, and were able to find what appeared to be, in their opinion, as well as the conviction integrity's opinion, bruising on the arms of the defendant. And it allowed the district attorney to go move to overturn that conviction. We've used
One minute.
yeah, we've used it to enhance some videos, to stabilize some videos and brighten some videos, as well as reduce backgrounds. We're preventing the argument of manipulation and deep fake by always putting in the original and authenticating witnesses. I'm not going to get into hashing, but we are hashing our evidence here in New York, in Brooklyn. It's a digital fingerprint, so I can assure a jury and judge that I haven't manipulated the evidence. Ways we're not using AI is we're not using generative AI at all with research or legal document creation. And then we want to start using some trainings as well about how to spot AI, running metadata, and verifying materials, and which programs that are already embedded in your office you can and cannot use. We're starting to create a policy regarding that as well. And as I said, we're creating an AI policy. We want to ensure that it's only used to aid and not to replace, that it's never used to make a legal decision or determination, that it's preventing its use from application or program that could be put into the cloud or public data, ensuring that our ethical obligations are met and that we're notifying parties when we're used. And I think this is the biggest thing I would suggest, that if you're going to use or buy AI or use more of AI, you need to find out who owns the data when you create it, and make sure that you find out who has access to your data. The AI transcription software company that we negotiated with, we wrote it into our contract that we still own our data and it cannot be used to train their machine learning. And so we were very comfortable in moving forward and using that transcription software. And then this is my contact information. Yes, I named it Bolt. So you can feel free to reach out to me and contact me. I know that everyone has someone like me embedded in their office. Someone on this call who's part of the AI committee for PCE called it like a Rosetta Stone job. It's my job to talk tech to the lawyers and law to the tech people.